Hello there, welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku. The World Bank has approved a $300 million international development assistance in support of conflict-affected communities in Ethiopia. The grant has been delivered in line with the Response Recovery Resilience for Conflict-Affected Communities in Ethiopia project. The project will support efforts to address the immediate needs of communities, rehabilitate infrastructure destroyed by conflict, and increase community resilience to the impacts of conflict in a sustainable manner. Specifically, the project will help to improve access to basic services as well as rebuild climate-resilient infrastructure prioritized by the communities. The project will also provide gender-based violence survivors with improved access to services and comprehensive care needed to recover from the impacts of the violence they experienced. The project has a national geographic scope, initially prioritizing support to the Afar, Amhara, Benishangul Gumuz, Oromia, and Tigray regions, which have been highly impacted by the recent conflict and host large number of internally displaced people, to be implemented by federal, regional, and community-based organizations. U.S. Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, David Starfield, and Deputy Special Envoy Peyton Knopp are expected to arrive in Ethiopia anytime soon for a meeting with Ethiopian government officials, representatives of humanitarian organizations, and diplomatic partners. According to the U.S. Embassy in Addis Ababa, their visit comes with U.S. efforts toward ceasing hostilities, unhindered humanitarian access, transparent investigations into human rights abuses and violations by all actors, and a negotiated resolution to the conflict in Ethiopia. Ethiopians are urged not to stop protesting against House Bills HR 6600 and S3199, irrespective of the wrong information spreading about the suspension of the bills. Breaking their silence is what Ethiopians and friends of Ethiopia are expected, and create awareness amongst the misinformed. Tigist Sarnesa compiled the following reportage.
Ethiopians from all walks of life should continue to urge U.S. State Department for the withdrawal of H.R. 6600 and S3199 resolutions, for the sanctions do not commensurate with the long-standing relationship between Ethiopia and the United States. On several occasions, international researchers, diplomats commented that the bills are serious policy mistakes that the U.S. government is doing against Ethiopia since the conflict. The proposals that are forwarded in the U.S. Congress do not recognize the fact on the ground, the real situation in Ethiopia, and what aggressor TPLF is doing to destabilize the Horn of Africa. When Ethiopians continue to urge for the withdrawal of the bills, some senators might own up their mistakes and apologize to Ethiopians, just like Senator Kim Jackson from Georgia has officially apologized for being misled by the pro-TPLF supporters in such manner.
I'm sorry for the hurt, for the pain that my resolution caused your community. I will take full responsibility for that. There are other senators whose names are on that resolution, but I stand here to take full 100% responsibility. And I'm sorry. Certainly, you all began by saying we know that this was unintentional, but at the end of the day, people were hurt. And so I stand here with great contriteness.
Breaking the silence is what Ethiopians and friends of Ethiopians anticipate to keep doing, for their unity has the strength to create awareness amongst the misinformed senators as well.
No more Brad Sherman! 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 Brad Sherman, stop supporting terrorists! Brad Sherman, stop supporting terrorists! Brad Sherman, stop supporting terrorists!
Gannet Nuguse, a resident and citizen of USA that rallied against the ratification of the bills, underscored that these bills that are sugar-coated as Ethiopia Stabilization, Peace and Democracy Act includes from economic to intelligence sanctions that would directly affect the lives of ordinary Ethiopians, she says.
Some say that the bills won't affect the ordinary citizens, rather only on government. But the truth is, if government can't buy guns, how can the government safeguard the public? If individual businesses can't operate under sanctions, it will affect the entire economy at large. The thought that say sanctions would not do any harm should not be entertained to begin with. Ethiopia should not go through all this for a sovereign state. Sanctions should not be imposed based on ungrounded information.
Gannet further added that Ethiopians living across Europe and United States should not step back from rallying against the ratification of the bills, for ordinary Ethiopians' lives will be at stake.
Branch chairman, stop supporting terrorists!
Archbishop of North and South Wallo and Kamise Diocese, Abuna Ermias, called on the international community to support the World Heritage Site Lalibela. Abuna Ermias said the community of the heritage site has been highly affected by the coronavirus pandemic and the conflict in the north, adding that there is no any tourism or any related economic activity in the site. He said the invaluable treasures in the heritage are endangered due to lack of proper preservation and restoration works, calling partners to hold up to the heritage site financially and technically. Abuna Ermias further called on the government, partners and stakeholders to join hands in stimulating economic activities and supporting restoration works in the area. Actors in the field said the strong desire to break free from social and political problems creates a favorable environment for national consultation. A political studies scholar at the Ethiopian Civil Service University, Mukram Miftah, exclusively told ETV English that the national dialogue Ethiopia is going to undertake is a means to realize development, peace and democracy. Staff member Shifara Ulako has approached the scholar and produced the following story.
Being in the midst of all these challenges, is it proper or right to talk about national dialogue in the first place, in your view?
Some of the problems may come and go and may not necessarily condition the plan which we have heard from the commissioners that they are planning to do, among other things, issues that concern Ethiopia as a state, issues that concern the different ethnic groups and nations and nationalities. So these problems may come and go and may not necessarily, in my view, affect the planned national dialogue.
What are some of the enabling environments that you observe or the fertile ground so that this national dialogue will be successful nationwide?
There were a number of different political groups with, to a larger extent, with irreconcilable interests and aspirations for the country that concerns, in one or another, the concerns of different ethnic groups, concerns associated with territorial claims by different ethnic groups, and things of that sort. I mean, concerns associated with the constitutional articles. So these concerns were already voiced by different political actors in the political field, in the public sphere, and therefore there was, in my assessment, a need for a way out. There was a need for a condition, a circumstance through which these predicaments and challenges to be tackled and addressed. And I think the problem being felt is an important springboard for its diagnosis and prescription of solutions to come after it.
What kind of policy do you suggest need to be put in place so that this national dialogue will be more fruitful and more inclusive and legitimate?
Fundamentally, any foreign policy must ideally reflect its national interests, meaning Ethiopia's interaction with regional actors and global international actors, meaning the West, in particular United States, England, France, Germany, and Italy, must be guided by, first and foremost, by Ethiopia's national interests. Ethiopia as a state has its own interests and aspirations. Ethiopia is an independent state with its own territorial integrity, with its own historical foundations and developmental goals and aspirations. And if that's the case, the state, I think, in my perspective, should be pragmatic and at the same time realistic about its interventions and actions. Meaning, if there are actors which may not necessarily like what we're doing now here in Ethiopia, the state should not be doing anything, essentially, yeah? In as much the same way as we did with the Ethiopian Grand Renaissance Dam. If you remember, the constructing the Grand Renaissance Dam was fundamentally a national agenda for Ethiopians. From root to branch, everybody considers the Grand Renaissance Dam as Ethiopia's, safety valve, a platform through which it can realize its developmental independency. But other countries like Egypt and Sudan were not necessarily looking at it as such. So simply because they don't like it, we shouldn't avoid it, isn't it? So if that's the case, the national dialogue is one important way through which we can realize our potential for development, peace, and democracy. Other countries may not, in some ways like it. I don't expect that they come out and say, your national dialogue platform is bad. They wouldn't say that. But even if they don't say it, we have to do it. So if that's the case, I think whatever comes from outside, we should have the courage, the power, what it takes to do it. And that should be our priority. This is something that would ultimately solve some of our problems. If this is the case, the concerns of other actors, meaning regional and global actors, must be secondary and should be approached as such.
Israeli delegation composed of members of parliament and health professionals said their government is committed to rehabilitate war-ravaged health facilities in Ethiopia. As part of the cooperation, the University of Gondar called upon Israeli investors to use investment opportunities in the Amhara region. The Israeli parliamentarians and medical crew held talks with stakeholders on ways of rehabilitating war-torn health facilities in the state of Amhara. Goshumal has the details.
Ethiopia and Israel have historical relationship. Israel doubles down its support to Ethiopia in social and economic areas. It is to be recalled that many health facilities in Amhara and Afar, devastated by TPLF forces, and millions of people have been exposed for dire humanitarian crisis. The Israeli delegation team arrived in Gondar yesterday to lend hand in reinstating workers. The delegation encompasses members of the parliament and health professionals said their government is committed to rehabilitate war-ravaged health facilities in the region.
The state of Israel has decided a very strategic decision to extend a helping hand whenever there is a need for us. And it's in general. And when we are talking about friends, I think this responsibility and this obligation is even much higher and much stronger. We came here in order to be able to build the exact, let's say, solution of what we can arrange for the people here. So our aim is to try to understand, to learn, and to try to fix the best solution for the people here. We believe in extending hand. We believe in saving lives, and we believe that distance and borders will never be barriers between us and the people that we are going to save.
Scholars drawn from University of Gondar and the community held discussions with the visiting team. The Israeli delegation is thus urged to approach Israeli investors to capitalize in the Amhara region.
We are in need of a more sustainable approach to build our city and country. We seek a comprehensive capacity building campaign that will allow us to get out of the trend of assistance and dependency. Hence, we need manpower development, infrastructure development, and would like to petition all Israelis to call upon Israeli investors and innovators to invest in Gondar area. Elsemed, which is a health equipment manufacturer based in Israel, is a good example of this and can make all of the difference in a place like Gondar.
University of Gondar proposed to open Hebrew language center to further strengthen Ethio-Israel relationship, Asrat added.
Our university is engaged in progressing a number of proposals that will further interlink our institution with the State of Israel. In line with this, we would like to your unreserved support to establish a Hebrew language center at our university. We believe that the historical ties that we share with Israel is a testament to our shared values, and the Center for Hebrew Language will only solidify this existing bond and strengthen our relationship and working passion moving forward. We would like to ask for the help of the Israeli Embassy, the Israeli Parliament, and the relevant institutions to make this a reality.
The delegation expressed its unwavering commitment to support hospitals across the country, including Tigray.
Ministry of Industry of Ethiopia, in partnership with German Agency for International Cooperation, GIZ, has announced a 25 million euro project to strengthen the private sector in the country. On the launching ceremony, the Industry State Minister Shisema Gebreselassie said the private sector is playing an important role in addressing joblessness, expediting poverty reduction endeavors, and accelerating economic growth in Ethiopia. Shisema noted that GIZ has been supporting efforts to enhance the private sector in Ethiopia over the past 6 years. He added the project will further accelerate efforts to make the private sector an effective driving force in the country's economy. Well, next up is Forex Update. Let's have a look.